everybody! So this is a new thing which I thought I would try out, and then I thought it would also be a cool way to talk about books that are a lot older and that we don't really, that still are there and people still read and talk about but aren't really as big in the thing as they once were. This kind of stemmed from the other day when I was tidying out one of the old bedrooms in my house and I found a lot of things and I felt really nostalgic when I found them, and I got really emotional and really like, oh my god, like I found so much stuff. And so I went over to my bookshelf and I picked up some books that I haven't read since I was about 14 and I reread them. And there's these. So before anybody says anything, I know this book has such a bad rev. I don't know why either. I mean, they're not the best written and the films are not the best, and I'm aware of that. But 13-year-old me picked up these books and it was a whole new world. So I reread them and I wanted to talk about them and what this whole thing meant and the things that it led to. So I picked this book up when I was 13 years old and I didn't really know what to expect. Twilight was the first kind of young adult series that I read. I fell in love with it so much. You feel like you're reading it as you feel as though you are Bella and that you are in the story, and it's so relatable. Oh, this book, seriously, it was a phase for me. It was one of my obsession phases. I made a video about those. So I started to reread these books and I'm reading it and I'm like getting involved again. Well, I was reading Twilight and it gets to the bit where like they're playing baseball and then James, and I was just like, no, you can't go to the ballet studio, Bella, are you stupid? And then I read New Moon and then Edward left and I was just like, I remember when I read it the first time, I was crying so badly when Edward left. I threw my book at the wall and I was like, no, don't you dare leave her. And then I was reading the back and I remember skipping to the back to see if he came back, and then when I saw he did, I carried on reading. And I remember all of these things, and then like, Jacob comes into it. Jacob with his shirtlessness. Obviously there were things that when I read it the first time I was like, oh, that's so sweet. And obviously my opinion has changed a lot reading those books. I mean, seriously, like Edward leaving, it was the most like, why did he leave? When I read them before, I was like, it's because he loves her and he wants to protect her. And I was just like, Edward, you're an idiot. Like, you could have sat down, discussed your problems, discussed your issues and sorted them out, and just, oh, and some of the lines were really cheesy, like, and so the lion fell in love with the lamb. And before I was like, that's so sweet. I think I actually have a bracelet with that written on. I wonder if that's somewhere in my house. Really, this is so cheesy, and I found myself laughing, but I found myself wanting to read more. So I reread Eclipse, and then I reread Breaking Dawn. And Eclipse is my favourite, and it was also my favourite as I was rereading it. I liked Eclipse. I felt like the characters were a lot more mature and grew up a bit, and it was good, and it's definitely my favourite one. Do you remember the leg hitch scene? You remember that? You hitched that leg now. And then Breaking Dawn, which was the last book in the series. I mean, I've got a problem with Renee's name. Got a problem with the name. I didn't have the problem beforehand, but now I realise it's yeah. And then I also filmed this, which was The Short Second Life of Britannia, which was a Eclipse novella. And I forgot this existed, so I reread this too, and I really liked it, and I like Brie, and I like Diego, and it's so cool. And I found the movie companions because I just had to have them all. I got really frustrated because they didn't have a Breaking Dawn Part 2 one, and then I had the director's notebook. Graphic novels. The official guide to Twilight. Because I needed that. Twilight Diaries, New Moon one, Twilight one, I've never written in them. Twilight Journals, never even been opened. I needed it though, I needed it. I'm laughing about it now. And I was talking to my friend, she was like, but at the time, it was such a massive thing that was, you know, in your life, and you know, you wouldn't be you without it. I created my first Twitter account because of Twilight, my first Tumblr, and I've met so many amazing people because of it. There's one girl, and she's like one of my best friends, and we met over Twitter. I wouldn't know her if it wasn't for Twilight. Twilight led me to BookTube, you know, it led me to other books, it led me to the Hunger Games and Mortal Instrument, and it led me to some music. Regardless of what you think of Twilight, the Twilight soundtracks are some of the best things that the music on them is fantastic. You know, it led me to Paramore and Linkin Park and Muse, and I remember hearing this music and be like, Jesus, this is cool. Like, and then like a little 13-year-old me hears Decode for the first time, and I was just like, oh my god. I don't know why it had such an impact. I know that it had such a phenomenal impact on so many people in the world. I mean, the books were around for a long time before the film, but with the hype of the film, Twilight kind of came out of nowhere. And then it kind of vanished too. I went to the premiere of Breaking Dawn and being stood in Leicester Square with 6,000 people. Everybody was singing the words to 1,000 Years, you know? And it was like, I'm not the only one. And I'm surrounded by people that love this thing, that's brought everyone together, and thinking back to all of it got me really emotional. It really sort of did make me think, oh wow, you know, this was such a big part of my life, and it really was. It was mad. That was first of my nostalgic reads one, because after feeling very nostalgic about Twilight, I want to go read all the other things that I found and all the other things that I haven't read for years. I'm going to do a Harry Potter one because that's an even bigger scale of things. That was Nostalgic Reads Twilight. I hope that you liked it. Let me know if you do want to see more of this kind of thing and talking about old books that people might not really talk about as much anymore. And yeah, let me know, were you part of the Twilight people? I mean, I'm not like a active part of the fandom now. You know, I was once, and I remember going on the Twilight lexicon every day, and like, I cried when I met Kristen Stewart. I cried. That was the thing that happened. I screamed I love you at Taylor Lautner as well, and I think I scared him. Yeah. I remember he did reply with I love you too, so maybe that means they're married, I don't know. Did you remember like when the new trailers would come out and then they would be like shown at the MTV Movie Awards, and then they one ourselves just called the MTV Movie Awards the Twilight Awards because we just won every time. And then we always wanted the best kiss, and then like they would never kiss. Oh yeah. I remember. Okay, let me know you guys' thoughts. Also, do you like this video? Because like I said, I do want to do more of them and talk about older kind of books. So let me know if you'd like to see more of them. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. I hope you're all doing really well, and I will see you soon with a new video. Bye!